What's up, fellow Sambarians? Today I am going to be doing some more work on my KS4 95 Sambar troque. So the other day I did the right rear motor mount. I did the center one, which is on the left side, and today we're gonna do the front one. I've had quite a few people ask how many mounts are on the Sambar. So if you're watching this, you're gonna learn today that there is 3. You got 2 left and right rears. One is on the transmission, one is on the engine, and the front one is on the transmission again. So I do sell these on in my store, but the 2-wheel drive and the 4-wheel drive are different mounts. So this one is for a 4-wheel drive mainly because I've only had 4-wheel drive Sambars, so I haven't stocked any 2-wheel drive stuff. But if you need help locating a 2-wheel drive front trans mount, let me know, I'll help you out. We're also going to be replacing, finally, another one of those. I get stuff in the store and then I sell out of it before I have a chance to do it. But I'm finally gonna do a fuel pump. The fuel pump came with the hose kit. So one hose coming from the line going in, and then that like U-shaped hose going into the fuel filter. I bought the fuel filter off of eBay, the cheap, it's like the cheap universal Chinese one that there's somebody that sells on eBay. I did not have a good experience with it. It's a pain in the butt to get in the hoses, like the nipples too big on that filter, and it didn't fit right. But it's inexpensive. But if you buy the G Parts one or the Nitto that I have, these are specifically made for the Sambars, so it fits perfect because that one is made for the Acti and for the Sambar. So the nipples change, and it's pain in the butt to get in old, really stiff hoses. But I got new hoses just so we can replace some stuff. So we're gonna be doing a fuel pump on the carbureted Sambar. The fuel injected is different. This fuel pump will not work on a fuel injected Sambar, so don't attempt to put that one on a fuel injected. Lot different PSI in the fuel system. Also, don't use this on a fuel injected either. It will probably blow up and then you'll have fuel everywhere. So anyways, it's kind of hard to show myself replacing this one. I'll do my best to put a little tripod under there, but literally it's 4 bolts on the trans and then 1 on the frame. So obviously I'm gonna put a jack underneath the engine so I can keep it from falling down when I unbolt this. But if you were curious about mounts on your Sambar, there is 3, and I went over it. 1, 2 in the back, 2 in the back, 1 in the front. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, different mounts. I think they look similar, but it might be, I don't know. I don't know what the 2-wheel drive looks like because I don't own any 2-wheel drives, but it's probably similar, just maybe different bolts because it doesn't have that front snout going towards the front differential for the front 2 axle, whatever. So anyways, let me get everything kind of set up and we'll get moving. Okay, so there is the end of the mount that's on the trans, and then let's see the front. We can see the front. Oh man, and yeah, there it is in the center. There is, I can't quite touch it, but there's the bolt that goes through the mount. And then here is the other end mounted to the transmission. So that is the one we're going to be removing. So I'm gonna put probably a jack on the skid, like the skid plate here. So it doesn't, I don't have to put the jack on anything and worry about hurting anything. And this should be a good spot to keep the engine from wanting to droop down when I unbolt it. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do right now and get this secured. A little bit of pressure on that. There we go. Let's see, maybe 14s hopefully. Yeah, baby. Okay, 14 millimeters. Seems to be the number for all the mounts are all 14 millimeters. So let's go ahead and break those loose. Skip to my loo, my darling. Skip to my loo. Extension to get the one bolt that's on the top because it's hard to get to. There's one bolt and we got 3 more. Let me just give some advice. If you can, I mean, this is a snap-on, so it's a little more expensive, but you can get like a Craftsman or probably even Icon or something from Harbor Freight. But you get yourself a nice long, like a breaker style 3/8 ratchet with a swivel head. It will always save your butt on the harder to break bolts. A lot easier than the standard non-pivoting head style ratchets. This one is definitely my go-to for everything. So just a little advice from a tool addict. All right, 3 down, 1 more to go on the trans, and then we're gonna move up to the one on crossmember. Oh gosh. Oh. Okay, all 4 bolts. I don't know why I held up 2 fingers. All 4 bolts have been removed. So now we're gonna move up to the front one. That's gonna take a 14 mil wrench and socket because you gotta hold the nut on the other side. I can't really film that one because it's hard to see, but hard to get to, but you get the idea. So this one is all loose, got the engine on the jack, so everything's good. And then what I think we'll do when we put the new one on, we will bolt the new mount up to the transmission because it's 4 bolts we have to try to line up instead of 1 in the front. So we'll get that one out, we'll bolt it up here first since it'll be easier to line up the holes, and then we'll move up to, and then we'll set the last one because we only have to line up 1 spot instead of 4. So you may need a pry bar depending on how much it needs to be moved, or you just kind of work your jack at the same time. But gonna work on the front one now. Okay, I want to try to show you what I did. It's really hard down here with the angles and all that dangling. So I got my ratchet on the right side of the bolt end, the bolt head, and then I got a offset box end wrench on the nut side. So when I start loosening the bolt, it causes the wrench to push up against the cross member because it's very awkward down here in the spot. I mean, maybe if you took off a few things, you could probably take off that plastic cover and get some better access, but I'm being lazy. I'm trying not to remove a whole lot of stuff. But box end wrench on the left side locks up against the cross member, so then you don't have to touch that because that thing is really tight in there. So maybe hit it with some penetration lube in the beginning, might help a little bit, but that seems to be the trick. It's loosening, so now we're just gonna keep backing that bolt out. Oh my gosh. Okay, shimmied. You gotta shimmy that thing out of there. So it sits like this. Push this end up out of like the little socket area that it's sitting in, and then you can then twist it and then pull it out. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but wiggle it on out of there. That's the old one. I mean, it doesn't, well, actually there's a, let's see, there's a rip right there. Kind of see it right there in the middle. So I was trying to eliminate some vibration when turning on the air conditioner, so hopefully this will help. Oh gosh, and oh yeah, you can definitely, here, let's do a, I'll show you what I'm looking at here. I had to take my shoe off. I got some feet there hurting. Okay, so if you're wondering, well, my motor mount, my transmission mount might be fine. Look where that one, the center of this, where the bolt goes, is located compared to the new one. It's like in a completely different spot. So I mean, it's this thing. If I can talk, this engine was sagging for sure. So it's always good to replace your mounts because it's probably sagging and it's probably ripped. It's definitely ripped. Probably eliminate a lot of things. Probably get a little more torque because your mounts aren't moving so much around. But yeah, look at that. This is different though. This has two holes right here. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe something in the later generation sandbars, maybe something mounted right there. And they probably just drilled holes in that to eliminate a little weight, maybe? I don't know. It's always interesting to see what changes through the years on these parts. But clearly, the get the heck out of here. This thing's sagging, so let's put it back in. And like I said, I'm gonna put these 4 bolts in first because it's gonna be easier to line these 4 bolts in instead of trying to line up one and then wiggling it around to line up these 4. So let's do that. Let's do the shimmy, shimmy, Cocoa Puff. Shimmy, shimmy, Cocoa Puff. Okay, so we gotta make sure we put it back on like this. Like a decent, like a decent. Let's see if I can do this well. You guys are being awkwardly close to me. Don't worry, I don't bite. So I want to try to get it up in there. First, it's gotta push up on it to get it up over that bracket. The bracket that it sits in. There we go. Okay. Now I can't see. Sorry, excuse me. Don't mind me. Don't worry, I brushed my teeth. Okay. So now I'll get these in first before I try to get the one bolt up front. And we'll just put these in hand tight. Obviously, don't crank them down quite yet. We want as much adjustment as possible before we tighten it, so we're not fighting ourselves. Tell you what, it pays to have skinny hands. Get up in these tight spots on these things, that's for sure. You know, if you take your truck to a shop and the mechanic's got small hands, you know he's a good mechanic. Okay, you guys can't even see it. But now we're gonna mount the front. Attempt to get the front through. Hopefully I can. It's gonna be out of whack because how it was sitting before is not anywhere near what this one is sitting like now, unfortunately. So I may have to jack up the motor. Can't even find the freaking hole. Oh gosh. Yeah, holy cow, the motor was sagging and bagging big time. So the hole is about a ½ an inch away from the new mount. So I gotta jack up the engine a little bit. Okay, let's try that. Oh, go in there, baby. Oh, there we go, we're going in. Yeah. Okay, pry bar for the win. So that one's gonna take a little bit of work to finagle in, especially if it's old and sagging. You're gonna have to jack it up even more. And then, oh great, I just dropped the bolt up there. I'll probably never see it again. Okay, holy cow. Got the front one tightened up. That one definitely takes a little It takes a little time to do. So now we are on to the back ones. So tightening up the back ones now. But the front one, I think having an offset box end wrench, 14 mil, there we go, really helps out a lot, along with a swivel head ratchet or something, a breaker style of that nature, so you can get some yanking on it, because we don't want this one to come loose. Okay. All right, so let's let the motor down, see how much droopy droop we get now. Nice. Didn't really hardly drop at all. So there you go. Placing that front trans mount, 4-wheel drive. 2-wheel drive is slightly different. Like I said, I can help locate that. If that's what you need, I can get you a part number. But yeah, she has got all fresh mounts. So now we're going to, can't really see, let's see here. Oh man. Now we're going to be doing, I can't see what's going on. Here we go. Fuel filter, I broke it loose, so that's why it's hanging. But we're gonna do fuel filter and the fuel pump up above it. So that's what we're gonna work on next. And yeah, let's get to that now. All right, so let's just, get right into it. So up here is your connector for the fuel pump. It is a 3-prong connector. So I can't do it one-handed, but you're gonna unplug that. And then I believe it's 2 10mm bolts or nuts or bolts. Where are we at? Down below, and that will unbolt the fuel pump. Got it. So get that off. Man, I don't know what's worse, trying to get that trans mount bolt undone or this fuel pump. So I got the 2 10mm nuts off. God, dirt falling in my eyes. So my hose, I'm changing this hose right here, and then this U-shaped one right there in the middle that goes to the fuel filter. So I'm going to disconnect it all the way up there into the metal line. Just unplug there. But if you're just replacing the fuel pump, you're gonna wanna obviously just disconnect right at the fuel pump itself. So we got it unplugged. This thing is now able to come off. So let's get that hose, and then we gotta just undisconnect this hose, which is gonna be fun because I remember it was a pain in the butt to get into that, because this is that cheap universal fuel filter that sucks. But yeah, let's work on getting these hoses undone now. Okay, so quick little trick. If you're doing stuff with the old hoses on these, grab right at the end, right there at the end of the hose, and usually, if you twist it, it will break. Usually makes a snapping sound. It will snap free, and then it makes pulling that hose off a lot easier. Obviously you want to be very careful not to crack the hose, but see, it's coming off super easy. So it's just, you got to break that like corroded corrosion that it creates. Hopefully not a whole lot of fuel comes down on me. Oh, not too bad. Ooh. So yeah, just kind of give it a twist. It will snap. And I have these, I'll keep that up there so it doesn't drip down on me. These handy dandy hose pliers. So it will grab around it and then give it a twist, snap it, and then it should come off. Okay, got my little elephant. It's like an elephant snout. on the fuel pump, and we want to make sure that the fuel filter arrow is pointing towards the flow of the fuel pump, because we got fuel that comes to the fuel filter from the fuel tank and then goes through the fuel pump. We want to make sure that that filters the gas before it goes into the fuel pump and then up to the carburetor. So just make sure that arrow is pointing towards the pump. Yeah, so I just kind of put together here, and then I'll set it up in there and put all the hoses back on it. All right, we got that line reconnected back into the solid metal line heading towards the carburetor. So it loops, it drops underneath that wire loom up there. You can kind of see it above this. And we got that little like U-shaped hose from the fuel pump going to our fresh fuel filter, which just kind of snaps into this that little hanger right there, so it fits right in there perfect. This filter is way better than that universal one on eBay. Much nicer. I don't like that one on eBay at all. So now we're going to, I'm actually going to put a little dielectric grease in this end, and then we will plug this in to into the plug, and we'll prime it a few times and make sure she starts up. All right, everything's plugged back in. Hose lines are all back in with the little hose clamps. We'll prime it a few times and see if she fires up properly. So if you're getting a lot of vibration when you turn on your air conditioning, so a few weeks ago I had all the stock, the old mounts in here. Turn on the air conditioning, the whole cab would just vibrate. The whole truck would vibrate essentially. So I did the rears, the two in the rears still vibrated, not as bad, but it did vibrate. I did the front, obviously, just now. No vibration at all. I mean, I turn on the air conditioning and you can't even tell I have it on anymore, because as soon as you would turn it on with the old mounts, it would make a noise. It was loud, vibrating, and everything in here would kind of chatter because it's old plastic. But man, no, nothing at all. So if you are getting vibrations with the air conditioning and you did the two back mounts, 100%, if you change the front one, it's gonna fix it. So yeah, that was it. I don't know, maybe this is long, maybe it's not. We'll see how much I edited this thing, but cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Check out the store if you need any parts. Check out all the videos I have if you want to do some more maintenance stuff. I've got a lot. What's very helpful, you give one last little tip. If you're on my website or you're on my YouTube, there's a little, you can do a search. So on the website, if you hit up in the right hand corner on a desktop, it looks like a magnifying glass. Get in the search and just, because it's kind of overwhelming, so you can hit search and do filter, and all the filters will come up, or carburetor, everything related to the carburetor, gaskets, anything. So it can be a little overwhelming with how many parts are in the store, but if you do search on your desktop and the phone, it's the three lines, I think, and then it brings down a drop menu, and then there's a search. So just search the part, and I might have it. If it's a generic or a basic part, anything crazy, I might not, but give it a try, do the search. And then same with the YouTube, do a search, you know, whatever you're trying to do, and see if I did a video related to what it is, because I got a lot of stuff, and I don't even remember what I've made videos of and what parts I have anymore. I gotta do a search to check stuff now, because there's just so much stuff. But do a search, and it should be super helpful. And if I don't have it, then I don't have it. Message me, and maybe I can help you out. Cool. Take it easy, guys. See you on the next one.